So yeah, start over with our first question again. How has this impacted you? You know, your daily schedule. You know, working with your mentees. You know, teaching at Georgetown, and how has this impacted like your daily schedule?
Well, first off, it's great to see you. I'm glad you're doing well. In regard, I have two jobs. So my day job, full-time job, is being a co-founder of business development at Kiswe Mobile. We've been around for 6.5 years. Work out of a virtual office. I travel a lot globally, so I stay in contact with everyone. I contact my clients and coworkers by Slack, Google Hangout, um, emails, text messaging. So that hasn't changed a whole lot. Our business has changed dramatically, and I'll get to that later. But in terms of day to day, the kids we hasn't changed. But teaching at Georgetown has changed. I love teaching in front of students, interacting with students, seeing their reactions. I don't love teaching online, but it's the safest and best way. So for now, I'll do with that. The thing I miss the most is my mentees. I have dozens of mentees, and I spend a lot of time with my mentees, going to ball games and going to lunches and dinners. And I don't have that. I haven't seen any of the kids in 4.5 weeks, and that's the biggest hole in my life right now.
Yeah, yeah. So want to actually your business going on with working remotely with broadcasting.
Yep.
How has that significantly changed? People are going online now.
Oh, in a huge way. So Kiswe is a cloud company that has a product called Cloudcast, which is cloud-based remote production. We work closely with NBA. We work with Turner Sports, and things have gone really well for us the last couple of years. But when the sports got suspended, live sports about 5 weeks ago now, we had to make a pivot. So the morning after the suspension of the NBA games, we decided we have these excellent capabilities, and how can we help leagues and teams and networks stay connected to fans? Because you can't travel, right? So being able to produce an event remotely and in the cloud is something unique and different, and that's what we're experts at. So we've actually picked up probably 17 or 18 new clients in the first few weeks, and we probably have another eight or 10 lined up now. So business has been blowing up. It's unfortunate it's happening during these times, but we're a solution provider and helping, again, these entities stay better connected to their fan base.
Yeah. Wow. So how can people sign up? They just go to the website.
No, it's really we're more of a technical partner. So it's not really a business consumer play. It's more we're helping others. So Turner Sports produces an event every weeknight at 6 p.m. They run a show on NBA TV. They're using our technology. So normally, if a network has a talk show, the guest will be there at the studio. There'll be 2, 3, 4 people together, but people can't travel. So this way, they can use our software. So the commentators can log in from their homes, and everything is synced together. So if you look at NBA TV at 6 p.m., you'll see 2, 3 forecasters talking. They're all in remote areas, but they're all connected online.
Got you. Okay. Cool. So, what are your thoughts about COVID-19 and how this has impacted like society? And hopefully, when this is all over, how do you think it's going to be when people interact and things go back to normal?
I can answer that question. I don't know. It's really sad what's going on. I think it's going to change a lot of things significantly, and I think it's going to take a lot of time. I mean, just the basic things people are talking about. The experts saying we don't want you shaking hands anymore. I mean, think about it. Every time you see your friends shake your hands, we hug a lot, and you can't do that anymore. And so it's going to be much different. And I feel for the college seniors right now who are going. Think of your days, your last couple of months going in senior year and graduation. But I think of all the workers, all the restaurants you eat at, all the dry cleaners, coffee, the basic things, and getting manicure and a pedicure.
Yeah.
And I do that, but you can't do it anymore. Like everything.
Right.
I got a couple of cats, and I take them once a month to get their nails trimmed. I check. They're everything's closed, right? And I feel bad for the people, and I just hope that things come back in a sane way in the not too distant future. But we have to be very, very careful.
Yeah, definitely. So have you been working on anything new, like while you've been home, any new projects or ideas?
Yeah, I mean, the Kids Week stuff is just keeping us so busy, you know. I sent you the article that came out yesterday in Sports Business Journal. It really describes well, you know, how we're working with the leagues and teams and networks. So I'm just being very active, and we're a global company. We have offices in New York, New Jersey, DC, Belgium, Singapore, Korea, and London.
Yeah.
So just staying in contact with everyone. And it's crazy as our company is less than 50 employees. Everybody's working from home, remotely and globally. And you wouldn't know it because things are just working seamlessly, really, really well. And so, but you know, new things I'm doing, the good thing is I've been reading more books. I'm also catching up more. Like I stay so in contact with my mentees that are in school, but, you know, ones that have graduated, like you and a couple others that I haven't spoken to in a while. It's
Yeah.
great connecting with them. You know, I just connected with Josh Yarrow,
Yeah.
you know, who's got his own foundation. I had a great chat with Trey Morning today. So, you know, my former students or mentees that graduated a couple years ago, it's really great to reconnect.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I wanted to ask you, I know you have a lot of mentees, and it's probably hard to choose from, but I was reading a magazine and my dad was showing it to me, and it was like a picture of someone, say like for example, like a filmmaker, and then they said
Yep,
somebody like a younger version of them that they mentor.
yep, yep.
If you had somebody that you can like pick as a mentee or somebody you've helped, you think it's like walking in your footsteps or like is the next you, um, who do you think that person would be?
uh, I have a couple dozen mentees every year,
Yeah.
and this goes back 15 years.
Mhm.
But just if I were to pick one person, it's a young man named Carlos Chung. So Carlos is Chinese American from San Francisco, graduated Georgetown probably 6 years ago.
Okay.
But even though he comes from a low income background, I mean, the kid, I call him a kid, he's a young man now. He gives so much of his time and he never says no.
Mhm.
And I'm almost at fault for being that nice guy who didn't learn to say no until later in life. Carlos is like that. He's also, he's got a really good Rolodex, which I have, and he's a connector. He puts people together, companies together. But whenever I ask him to, help someone younger, he always says yes. And there's many people, but if you ask me if there's one person who's walking in my shoes, I feel like it's Carlos.
Okay.
By the way, he's a Chinese brother with a cool name, Carlos Chung.
Carlos Shaw. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to ask you, if you have a picture with him, I'd love to put it on top of the
Yeah,
video. It's
yeah.
like,
I'll send. No, I have plenty of pictures.
yeah, that'd be great. And yeah. So my next question, to piggyback off of that, just like how we met at Georgetown, just like it was at a networking event, and like you're really great at just like just meeting people, talking to them, connecting them. You helped connect me with Avi, and that's why I was able to work for his basketball camps. We just want to talk about like the importance of just interacting with people and connections and networking.
Yeah, but I mean, the cool thing is there's really a 1-2 step there of how you and I got connected.
Yeah.
I was going to speak at that sports career, like for students who are interested in working in sports, which, I meet with students all the time at Georgetown about that. But I actually, it was Jeremy Moore, JMO,
Yeah.
that first put us together, right? And he said, she's shy, she didn't talk that much, but you'll really like her. She needs your help. I met you, and just like with Sugar was the same way. I was told she was shy, but you opened up to me right away. Sugar opened up to me right away, and there was just a natural connection there, And so I saw your passion for what you want to do. I saw your drive for what you would. I'm always here to help you. And I mean, the memory that stands out to me most was when it was 2012 when the U.S. Olympic team was practicing here
Yeah.
in D.C. and they were going to go to London the next 2 days later.
Yeah.
And you texted me and told me you were transferring. You asked me if I was mad at you.
Yeah.
And I said no. But what happened was I was waiting to go to dinner with Swin Cash and Sue Bird, and they were late as Swin, can run late a little bit. And I was sitting there at a table with Angel McCautry, who I didn't even know, and some players introduced. I'm sitting there, and she asked once, she's like, "You're pretty cool, man. You want to be my agent?" I said, no agent. Me. But when you texted me and I showed her the text, she's like, "Call that girl, put that girl on the phone." And this is someone who I just met 10 minutes before. You never knew, and she knew what you were going through. And she's like, "Give that girl my phone number and have her call me, text me anytime." And it's amazing. One of the greatest players in the world said, "I got you, girl," right? And then what she said, and then what Swin said later was invite Taylor to the practice the next day, right? And we went over to American University, my alma mater, and you were there with your little brother and sister when they were small and short and quiet. And we went down, and you met like 7, 8 of the 12 players, right? You met Swin, Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird. I remember Taurasi's like, that's the real Lynn. You're hanging with the real Lynn, right? You met Tamika Catchings. I mean, think about that. Swin's going in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame this summer, and Tamika's going in the Basketball Hall of Fame in later this year. You met all those people, and I just remember you got all those photos and how you lit up, right?
Yeah, that was awesome. I'll never forget that day. I still talk about it. It's crazy.
And the other funny thing was when the NBA security guy came, says, this is a private practice. Like, you can't be down on the floor. And all the girls like, that's Lynn, man. He's one of us. He's cool. Yeah. And I showed you I had a little bit of juice back in the day.
You still do. You still do. But no, I definitely appreciate it and everything you've done for me.
And I remember when I came to your game at George Mason when you had that point record, and I bought Mike Rowland and Shank, right? We were all there for you.
Yeah, Darius, that was awesome.
Yeah, all that.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to bring up these pictures. I'm gonna have to find them.
Well, how about when I came to your graduation barbecue?
Yeah, exactly.
Remember that? That was fun.
Yeah.
And I had some new mentees I picked up that later, like, oh, will you be my mentor too?
Right.
Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, I appreciate it. I just wanted to ask you. It's kind of like a little shorter than I thought, but unless we could just talk, about anything really. I just wanted to ask you about what your thoughts were about this time, and
Well, yeah. So let's talk a little bit more, because I know you're really into video production.
Yeah.
Right. So let me tell you what Kiswe does. So Kiswe is really what we do with the NBA is the NBA. They air their games in the U.S. on ESPN and Turner, but a lot of times outside the U.S., where they're the top global sports league, they air their games on League Pass. And on League Pass, the games are broadcast only in English.
Okay.
So they wanted to see how they could broadcast the games in local language. So in Brazil, can the games be broadcast in Portuguese? Can they be in Spanish in Mexico and Spain? Can they be in Japanese and Korean and Russian? And it's hard to do that. It's expensive to localize the content, but we figured out the way where the casters can actually call the game off their laptop at home. So if you were calling the game, you can speak Spanish. You could be sitting there in Maryland calling the game, because you get in the NBA video feed and you call the game in Spanish or Portuguese, whatever you speak. Yeah. We strip the audio out and we take it in the cloud and we sync the video and the audio perfectly together. And that way it's synced. And we can do it so there's up to 4 casters can call the game together. So you could be in DC, someone in Rio de Janeiro, someone in Paris, someone in Tokyo, but you're all calling the game together and synced. And that's our specialty. So what's really happening right now in the industry is being able to produce a sports event remotely and in the cloud was always seen as a luxury or a nice to have, not a must have. But nowadays with COVID and people can't travel and everything, it's all of a sudden they're seeing how advantageous it can be to the company. Another really important thing is you think about how the networks are losing money right now because they're not able to air the live sports events. They can't run the commercials. Yeah. And if your revenues are down, you got to cut back on your expenses, right? And so companies are unfortunately letting people go or asking to take a pay cut or putting them on a furlough. So companies also have to figure out, how can I produce events, with less money. And so leveraging new technologies like the cloud-based and remote is something that was probably a year or 2 away, but all of a sudden it's here now. And so some of the most innovative and progressive TV networks we're working with in the US, in Asia, in Europe, and South America, they're using our product and they see it. So they're going to be longtime customers and partners. So that's sort of that whole shift that's occurring right now. And so that's why I would encourage young people like you that are really into the video production, but understand how being able to produce things remotely in the cloud is the next generation. And it's not now 2021, it's here now. And that's why I would encourage you to continue to pursue.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to learn more about that because just by
You
doing
will.
this has made my life easier. To be
Yeah,
honest.
right? You see it, right?
Yeah. So
And then the other cool thing I love is just in terms of giving back, our former dean of the business school at Georgetown, McDonough School of Business, is Dr. David Thomas. Who was at Harvard for many years and came to Georgetown and did great things here. And he left Georgetown and now he's president of Morehouse. And he's done amazing things at Morehouse. And I love seeing your little brother post pictures, of Morehouse. So I got to get Jonathan connected to the president of the university. That'd be pretty cool, huh?
yeah, I
You
think
didn't even know that.
no, he might
See?
know him. My brother's in some organization where they have to meet with the president. I don't
Well,
know.
he got to go up to the President Thomas and say, my big sister's mentor is Jimmy Lynn,
Yeah.
and President Thomas will get it. He'll say, that's my guy,
Wow. Yeah. That's crazy.
right? And your sister, both your sisters are doing well. I see him online.
Yeah, my older sister's in Richmond.
Yep.
She's working for the government, and then my little sister's at Morgan State in Baltimore. So everybody's doing good. Just we never stop. So
Well, I'll tell you what, once we can all go out and get out, I'd love to come over
yeah,
for a family barbecue or family meal. All
definitely.
right?
Yeah,
I remember seeing you and your little brother and sister last time we saw each other was at a Mystics game or Wizards game.
oh,
Maybe it was a Wizards game.
yeah, yeah. So that was good. That was
Are
cool.
they taller than you now?
Oh yeah, they've been surpassing me. I've been one of the shortest.
That's all right.
Yeah.
You're the baddest though of the four. You got the most right. Anything else?
um. Yeah, I think well, I had a question. I forgot about it. Yeah, just talking more about like video. And just like going remotely. Um, what advice would you give? Like, I know you suggested to me to look into like the cloud. But what other advice would you give somebody like first starting out? How they can figure out how to learn to get into it.
You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to get someone from my team, operations team. I'm going to ask them to do a live demo on your computer.
Okay.
And what's happening is usually if someone produces a game, right? Let's say there's a Wizards game. It's a Capital One Arena.
Mhm.
There's a big production truck that comes in,
Yeah.
and there's a control room in the truck, right? I
Mhm.
want to show you how you can actually run a control room off your computer in the cloud. And that's next generation stuff, and that's all we're doing, right? And so I want you to see that. And my two co-founders are amazing technologists, amazing people. They're both PhDs. One, Jung Kim, was the president of Bell Labs, which is the top research lab of the last century. And
Okay.
my other partner ran the mobile and wireless faculty at Lucent, which they built into a $4 billion business, putting mobile networks together globally.
Wow.
So my partners and then our management team, our CEO, our COO, our top developers and scientists, they all come from Bell Labs, Alcatel, Lucent. So they've been doing cloud-based mobile work for many years. And it's pretty cool to see how it's all come together now. And now the whole next generation stuff, it's here now. So I want you to see like how you can produce events off your computer, which is almost would have been a foreign topic years ago. And the thing is, we're not just doing sports. We're doing a lot of music now too. And so, you're going to see some concerts that are coming up. That these acts are also losing money because people can't go to concerts, but they're going to create what they call virtual concerts, right? And so you're going to see us working with some pretty cool music acts. We did a really cool event 2 weeks ago. There was a 24-hour music marathon with classical musicians, and they actually played for about 35 minutes, and then the rest of the time they can interact with the fans. So like, how cool is that if you could follow your favorite artist and then you'd have a chance to interact with them, and chat with them, and get to know them, right? And that's all and think about all that was done remotely. Every artist was shot from home, and then they're live talking to their fans, right? And that's what I mean about staying engaged with your fan base. And so you're going to see more and more of that soon.
No, that's awesome. That's perfect. That's exactly what we need now. And we don't know how long this is going to be. So when we come out
Yeah,
of this, yeah,
yeah. So it just, it's tough to see, but I think we just got to continue to listen to the health experts. I mean, no one knows better than them, and let's just, you know, Americans are tough, and hopefully people are resilient and can be patient and hang in there, and we'll try to get through this. We can't go rushing back to work or rushing back to events. It just, it's too dangerous right now.
exactly. Yeah. So, um, my next question for you is: so on Thursdays we've been having this generational talk. And we've been talking
Yep.
like from Boomers, Gen X, Millennials to Gen Z. So now we just been having conversation. What's the
Yep.
difference, stuff like that. So I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts about the different generations and how things are now, and what's the next generation going to be like, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, when we started our company 6.5 years ago, because my partners had younger kids, they saw how you're consuming video, right? It's different, right? So like the words we use are cord cutters or cord nevers, meaning you don't want to pay a cable bill. And so what ends up happening, and we saw this back in 2013 when we were first talking about forming the company, is that uh, the younger generation, and maybe not you, but maybe your sister, they watch TV differently than your parents and I did growing up. We had what's called appointment viewing, where a show was on at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night. You're going to tune in, you watched it. Nowadays, you can watch almost any type of content on your own by binge watching off of Netflix and
Right.
Hulu and YouTube and Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, whatever, right?
Right.
But the only type of content you have to watch live is sports content,
Mm.
right? And that's why sports rights continue to be very high and very effective, and that's what works. So what's interesting though is you have to, as a marketer and a programmer and an executive, you have to understand how the younger generation is consuming content differently,
Mhm.
right? So the younger generation, they're not watching shows on the broadcast networks, they're watching more on the streaming services, on the OTTs, the over the tops.
Yeah.
You have to understand that, and people have to understand the younger generation. They're not going to sit there for 3 hours and watch a baseball game or 2.5 hours to watch a basketball game, right? They're
Right.
watching off of highlights or watching off Twitter, off of Snapchat,
Mhm.
right? And I think it was Baron Davis said at NBA All-Star Weekend, said it used to be they called the 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
Now with TikTok, it's like the 15 seconds of fame.
Right.
So you have to be able to adapt. So that's where, like, before, where boomers, like the older people, had all the knowledge, they passed it on to the younger generation.
Mhm.
Nowadays it goes both ways. Like,
True.
yes, you should always heed the advice to the older generation, the respect, but the older generation can learn from the younger generation, like why TikTok is so important, why Snapchat is so important, right? And
Right.
there's more of a two-way communication, which I think is good for everyone.
Yeah. No, that's definitely true. I agree. I agree with that totally.
So
Yes.
that means you got to teach me something, next time I
Yeah.
see you.
Dude, my little sister is teaching me TikTok.
I know she got to teach me. I promised my little 11-year-old Naima I would do a TikTok video with her.
Yeah.
She's so excited, but I haven't seen her because the whole COVID thing. But when I do, I'm gonna do the dance with her. I'm gonna totally embarrass myself. But I told a bunch of my Georgetown kids, are like, Mr. Jim, you got to do that. I'm like, it's gonna be embarrassing, but it's all about the kids, so I will do that.
Yeah. No, I feel you. But I appreciate those are all my questions.
Okay, you got everything. All right. Well, let me know if you have any more questions. Just hit me back anytime.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely. Thank you so much.
Say hi to your parents and brothers and sisters.
I will. I will.
Okay. See you,
All right.
Taylor.
See
Take
ya.
care.